I'm Pete White.
I'm Stephen Mowry.
This is John Fitch.
I'm George Griffin.
I'm Michael Davis.
Hey everybody, this is Island Fight CEO.
Hello world, what's up everyone? This is Dave from the Fight Bananas podcast. How you guys doing today, tonight, this morning, whenever you're listening to us? Let's get it. All right, guys. First and foremost, this is a new thread. Haters are going to hate. They hate us because they ain't us. Whatever funny, cool analogy you want to come up with. It's, hey, like I said, the tell-all book is coming out 4 years from now, right? I promise it's coming out. But this is the Fight Bananas podcast. We will not change. This is the thread. So if you're listening to us, we appreciate it. You found us. We're going to put the link on everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that great stuff. Also, every podcast from now on will be on YouTube. The Fight Bananas YouTube is on fire. Wow, it was like over 35 or 36,000 views. The subscribers are flowing up. We appreciate it, man. We're putting up new content. That Jorge Masvidal Pettis fight, the grappling super fight, is on YouTube. All the podcasts will be on YouTube. So Fight Bananas podcast, YouTube. But definitely you can download and subscribe. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you can listen to a podcast. But guys, Dean Toole, the promoter of Island Fights, called out Lucas Alexander versus Jacob Kilburn, man, like 6 episodes ago, so I got to get them both on the show. So first, we are definitely going to have Jacob, the killer, Kilburn, on the show. I can't wait to talk to him. He's just one of those can't-miss fighters. So on August 2nd, UFC Fight Pass, Island Fights 58, Jacob versus Lucas. It's a can't-miss fight. I say it all the time, guys. I don't want to waste your time or mine. Let's get Jacob on the line now. All right, guys, I told you. Here we go. Jacob Kilburn on the line. How you doing, my man?
What's up, man? Congratulations on this excellent step in your career. This is like a notable moment for you. You may not realize it, but this is a big deal.
Oh, man, I appreciate that, man. Grinders grind, and, if you put your head down, just keep on doing the things. And, if you do it and you love it, it's not even work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So, appreciate that, but let's get into you. Everyone listening wants to hear your story. Dean Toole, it was probably like 5-8 episodes ago, brought it out. August 2nd, Island Fights 58, you versus Lucas Alexander, which it's not the main event, but I love it. We talk about it. It's the people's main event. Already so many guys in the industry, writers, announcers, other fighters are like, holy shit, Kilburn versus Alexander, this is insane. So how did the fight come to be, and how excited are you for this fight?
I was just telling Dean, hey, just send me somebody that's exciting so that we can put a show in for the fans, and that was the name he sent me. And I just, I said yes, and then looked him up, and I was like, perfect. They Dean and Ian, they really are good at matching stuff that makes a lot of sense for the fans, whether it's wrestlers or strikers or whatever. The style matchups almost always are guaranteed to produce fireworks, so there never really has to be any of that going back and forth and no, the guy doesn't make sense or whatever. Just, whatever name they send, it always makes sense. So that was how that goes. There wasn't any push or shove or arguments over money or any of that. It was just, yes, awesome fight, love it, let's do it.
Man, I love to hear that. We really do. Like I said, so many people are talking about how great this is, and that is Dean. He's one of the best matchmakers in the world. Nothing but big things are going to happen for him in his career, but he's told me off air, and he might not want me to say this, he loves this fight. He thinks this is the fight of the summer. I'm talking about UFC. There's Masvidal Askren, which I'm a big fan of. I love this fight coming up, UFC 239. But he goes, I would pay $10,000 for a front row seat versus Lucas versus Jacob. It's just an insane fight.
Well, that's because Dean knows fighting, and he's seen a lot of fights. He's promoted a lot of fights. He sat front row at a lot of those big fights, and just being on the inside, knowing a little bit about us, our camps, our styles. It would be really weird to do your homework and not come to the same conclusion. Coming out of a fight promoter like Dean, when he makes a statement like this, could be the greatest fight I've ever seen in my life. That carries weight, and I couldn't agree more.
Real quick, you just said it, and I was going there later on, but let's just talk about it now. I know that carries weight, but does it carry pressure? Does it put added pressure on you and Lucas to, make this one of the greatest fights ever? And I know this sounds crazy, but if you walk through him in 35 seconds, it's not the greatest fight ever. Probably for you it is. You'd be like, oh shit, UFC, here I come. And, that's what you want to get done, no damage. But it's almost, people think it could be one of the greatest fights of all time.
Well, yeah, we were just talking about that this morning after we got done working out. There for as long as it lasts, it's going to be good. But if I just look at our styles and our records, the way that we set things up, the way that we move, our attitude, our body position, how we handle certain situations, everything, we were all in agreement this morning that we're just going to shred this guy. So, I mean, not in the sense like, oh, it's going to be a 3-round banger. I don't see any way how that happens. You can't convince me of it. I could, if we sat here, obviously I'm not going to go into a ton of detail, but this fight's really a no-brainer. The referee's going to say go, and we're going to go. I don't see this as, there's no reason we go to the second round. 5 minutes of us there. It's only going to take, like you said, it's going to take about 30 seconds to get things going. And so obviously it's going to be a great fight, but it could be fight of the year, performance of the year, whatever. But not in the sense of it's going to go 3 5-minute rounds. That's not happening.
Wow. So. Okay. August 2nd, Island Fights 58 on UFC Fight Pass. Is that a big deal to you? Do you like to be, underneath that umbrella?
Yeah. There doesn't make any more sense for me, at least at this point, to fight with it not being on Fight Pass or having some kind of big implications. I really love the area. Island Fights absolutely knows what they're doing as far as putting on a show and everything, like more so than most mainstream shows. So, it makes a lot of sense. It's not any type of added pressure, but it's exactly where I want to be. And I can get motivated and get up and wake up at 5 every morning, knowing that, I get a really good platform to perform it. It doesn't make any sense to go do a professional fight somewhere where nobody's going to see it except the people that are, there in your hometown. Or that's just, we're past that point. So yeah, it's exactly where I want to be, and it's exciting.
Okay. I agree with that as well. People know you already, and I can't wait till the whole MMA community knows you even more because, you're definitely one of those names. To me, when we keep on bringing them up, we keep on talking to Dean about fighters and, fights. You're just a name. You're a can't-miss fight. You're kind of, to me, you're the Justin Gaethje right now of Island Fights. You can't miss a Justin Gaethje fight, and you can't miss the Kilburn fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So it's incredible. I can't wait. We'll be there in the building. Fight Bananas will definitely be there August 2nd, Island Fights 58. We just got back from the Contender Series. How was, I know it didn't go the way you wanted to, but how was the trip? How did they treat you? I hear nothing but the best things UFC does for those Contender Series fighters. How was that whole, process of being on Dana White's Contender Series?
Yeah, so I was really, taken back by everything. That was the first time that I'd ever have, really just, people just kind of tell you, hey, we've got this, don't worry about it. And everything was taken care of. I was just told, hey, show up here at this time and we'll get you where you need to be. It was really easy. As far as the fight goes, I mean, just, I guess as luck would have it, probably my worst performance, amateur or professional, just happened to be, I don't know, man, we just couldn't, I was taking, there was too much mental, what if, and they just kept reminding Dana's watching. So looking back now, I did a whole lot of nothing, just basically because I didn't want to do the wrong thing. That wouldn't happen again. But what really took me back about the whole experience was there was no sound. There was no walkout. There was no lights. There was no. I mean, I feed off that stuff.
Sure.
So that was an adjustment I had to make. If someone attacked me in the parking lot, it would be fine. That's like life or death. But here, man, we got gloves. There's a ring. There's a referee. We have rules. We're gonna get water in between rounds. All that kind of stuff. So it just for anybody that says like, I like I'm going to war type mindset, you can't. If you had that mindset, you'd be poking people in the eyes and pulling their hair out and everything else. We don't have that mindset. We're going to compete really, really, really hard, but I'm not trying to kill the guy. There's rules that would stop me from doing that. So, usually what feeds me is the crowd and the music and the smoke and walking down the ramp and all that. And there was none of that. I mean, it was just, they said 3, 2, 1, we're walking. We went through the doors. There was no music, 50 people in the room or less. You get some claps. And it was quiet, and I could hear like conversations going on and everything. It was a weird, different atmosphere. I mean, it was even more quiet than the training room is. So, not that that's an excuse, but it was really hard to
get up for it.
It was weird, man.
Yeah.
And that's not an excuse. That's on me. That was an adjustment I've had to make. So, we've even made adjustments in the training room. If we're doing fight drills or whatever, there's no talking. And then we'll have times where there's, like soundtracks in the background of audiences, and just so I can perform under anything. And that may sound weird, but I've had to make adjustments, and that was the biggest thing I took away from that is you let circumstances and conditions of the room and the crowd affect your energy, and that's inexcusable. So wonderful experience, really great people. I would love to have that match back. I would love to have an opportunity to go back again and just do it again. So hopefully in another fight or two with some really good finishes, we can talk about that. So.
Wow.
But until then, just going to keep grinding, and they can't say no if you keep winning. So,
absolutely,
anyways,
especially
that's the plan.
Especially your fight style, your age, and everything. They definitely can't say no. I love that inside. You don't hear that a lot. The same thing when we were just there was the first time it was at the UFC Apex, and it was definitely bigger. They added probably around 100 to 150 more seats, and they added a little bit more fans. But no, I agree with you. I was sitting front row. I went there for Brock Weaver, Alt Meeks, and Hannah Goldie. And, when Hannah was there, I got a little hype. She's my girl. I was cheering, big time for her. But I felt off. I felt I was being loud, and people are looking at me, and I'm like, I'm the second best dressed guy in the room. I'm super handsome, but I'm like, hey, people are looking at me because I'm cheering for Hannah Goldie. So I feel you on that. That's a real thing. Hey, I do want to talk to you about featherweights. I know that's that's your home. How about this UFC title fight? UFC 240, Max Holloway, Frankie Edgar. I would love your take. Do you think it's just Max's division until he doesn't want to anymore? Or are you a big Max Holloway fan?
Well, I'm a Max Holloway fan just in the sense of his attitude and his output. So that's a fun matchup just because both those guys are known for really hard work. Frankie's more of a foot movement guy, and he'll beat you on points. 1, 2, 3, takedown, blah blah blah. Max is a little more of a, he's got a little more pop on his stuff, but we still don't see him like just murking guys. He wins with a lot of output and toughness, and he's always the guy to get the last punch in. So that's a fun fight because Frankie is not that big, and Max has really just in the past 2 or 3 years has grown into the weight class. If you look at the Max that just fought versus the Max that fought like Conor McGregor, they look like two different people. I mean, Max is he's gotten a lot bigger. So
you get a man body. You start, you start growing
up. That's
up.
exactly what's happening. So and Frankie, I mean, he's just never be a big guy, but that's a fun fight for a lot of reasons. But it's an interesting style matchup. You haven't heard anything about Frankie for a little while, so it kind of took me by surprise. Like, oh yeah, I forgot about him.
It did, especially with all that young talent. That freaking division. Everyone talks about the lightweights, and we can if you want to, but to me, the featherweights with T-City, Jose Aldo's still there. You got Zabit. You got people like Josh Emmett. People forget about how great Josh Emmett is. You have Alexander Volkan, who's he's number 1, number 2 in the world. I love asking this question because, I'm a big fan of MMA, been a big fan over MMA over a decade now, and I see people come and go, but I've never fought, never wanted to fight. I love the sport. I just don't have that in me. So, but a fighter in that weight division, when you see, Zabit versus, Alexander, or do you see Frankie and Max, do you see those as like future competitors, or do you see like, hey, I just want to, watch MMA and kind of get lost in it as well?
Oh gosh, no. I mean, that's what one of the, we get people all the time at the gym who will I'm not kidding. This just happened the other day. It probably happens once every 2 weeks or something. Somebody will stop in, a soldier, a family, whatever, and they want to meet me. I'll either be teaching a class or I'll be training, and they want to come by and say hello and take a picture, whatever. So we'll walk out there and I'll talk to them for a couple of minutes, and they'll ask the same typical questions. When's your next fight? If I have an answer for that, then are you getting excited for it? Who's your favorite fighter? And that question always comes up, and my answer is always, I'll either, it's usually going to be Chael Sonnen, but just because, that's always been my answer, but it's never, I try to tell them I look at all those guys like they're coworkers.
Sure.
Or their potential, like I'm working for Charter and those guys work for AT&T, but maybe I could switch over. That's all it is. If you idolize them and look at them like, oh no, it's weird to me. And I train with a whole bunch of people of all different calibers, and the amateur fighters will talk about these guys like they're, and I just want to smack them and go, no, guys, get that out of your head. You're 2 and 3 and 4 years away from being that. They don't have any secret moves that you can never learn. They've just been doing it longer, and they've got more experience doing it. You just keep with it and you learn from your mistakes, and there's absolutely no logical reason why you shouldn't reach where they are. So yeah, I look at it like you said, Zabit. I was watching him when he fought Brandon Davis. I'm watching the fight thinking of all the things that I would do that Brandon should do, or all the things that, that I would do that Zabit should have done. That was just the fight that came to mind.
Yeah.
And, I guess that's one of the things that's frustrating about the Contender Series is because you can watch all that, and you're not like the sideline football fan that's never done it. Like I actually walk it and live it, and I can look at those things and go, okay, even Joe Rogan, you hear him, the guy's never fought. I can look at it and go, okay, this is what he needs to do to win, and I know because 2 years ago I was in that same position and whatever. So yeah, I just look at them as all potential competition, and I am biased. I think that featherweight is it's a murderer's row. It's the most dangerous weight division.
It's insane, brother. It really is.
Whether it's boxing or whether you're looking at K1 or you're looking at MMA, if you're watching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments, that like 140 to 150, it's just dangerous guys. They don't lose their power, but they're really fast. You've got a whole bunch of different height differences and range.
Yeah.
It's scary, man. It's not scary. It's fun, but
I was going to say that this is it. That's you, brother. This should be fun for you. I love it. Talking about your body and age and all that. For one, we talked about Max Holloway growing into his birthday, his body. 23 years old, only for a couple more days. Is that right?
Yeah. So tomorrow I turn 24.
Hell yeah.
And without a doubt, like I notice it all the time, just in how I feel, not necessarily how I look, but how I feel. Like, whoa, last month I wasn't this strong, and I can feel it because training partners that are 30 and 35 years old. It's like last week I was able to, I couldn't do anything, but I just bullied them right out of that position, which is, so I feel it each day, and I know I'm still 3 or 4 or 5 years away from that quote unquote athletic prime. So, but Lucas is the same way. We're both young guys in that regard. So it's not going to be like a thing of man strength or any of that. That's not going to be a factor in this fight. I fought guys in the past that are significantly older than me, and even fought some guys that are kind of on the downside, like they're out of their prime.
Yeah.
Athletically, that's not the case with this one. We're both kind of young guns who still got a couple more years to go as in terms of strength and stuff like that.
And that's kind of where I'm going with my question. If you had, and maybe you don't know the answer yet, maybe it is one of those things, would you take your absolute apex of your prime athletically, but maybe not all the way there mentally? Maybe, you're every day, every week, you learn a jab, a slip jab, whatever. You learn a new move on the ground. Or would you take your, 29, 32, a little bit out of your prime physically, but mentally on top of your game? Everyone I talked to so many people in the game, and they just said, my body, it's, I just need it there. I fight mentally. It's a whole mental game.
Sure.
It's a chess game versus the other opponent. And if my body just barely listens to me, I'm going to get the job done. You know what I mean? So what's that to you? What's a body or mentally?
Well, yeah. I guess it would depend on who you ask, and you can get into an argument of discipline and a whole bunch of other stuff. But usually the most difficult process of the whole fight and everything it's the training camp and ultimately the weight cut. The 24 to 48 hours before the fight.
Sure.
The fight's not the difficult part. It's the mental stuff. So if you're mentally weak, you hear Dana talk about it all the time when a guy's even like considering retiring, he just needs to go ahead and step out, because if he's got one foot out the door, it's going to get him hurt. Because like you talked about, if my mind even tells me a little bit to do it, my body's going to do it. Well, it goes the opposite way. If I even have a little bit of quit in me, that's all I need. You only need a little bit of that. I mean, if you're on a diet, I only need to think about a brownie one time. Now that potential is there for me to cheat. So when it goes, I don't care how strong or fast that guy is or how many techniques he has. There's no secret. He's not going to throw a Dragon Ball at me. It's the mental toughness and the mental like awareness of what you're doing. This is why we're here. This is what's happening. And things like, your body's going to get tired. It's inevitable. I'll watch the amateur fighters in there. They'll just break. And I'm like, guys, it's natural to breathe heavy. It's natural for your legs to get fatigued or whatever it is. Like that's no matter how much you train, how good a shape you get in when you're fighting full contact, you're going to get tired. It's impossible not to.
Yeah.
But the mental thing is where it's at. Are you more mentally strong than that guy? And I love the way that like Chael Sonnen put it. He's like, yeah, your arms are heavy and you're out of breath. What's that got to do with you walking across the ring and hitting him in the face? Like he's tired too. What you signed up for an athletic event. Of course you're tired, but in terms of like pushing through and taking a punch or finishing a submission or whatever it is, I will always hold to that. Fighting is way more mental than anything else, And obviously, ancient cultures understood that too. It wasn't about, how heavy we can. That's why, guys were crawling in pools of blood and screaming and cutting themselves and everything else. It's because it's a mental thing. So,
man, you could have mentioned any one of the 44 catchphrases that Chael Sonnen would have said there, and it would have been brilliant. It's, like I said, I've been doing podcasting for multiple years. I listen to his. He's hilarious. He brings it. He's just straightforward. He's funny as hell. He's so entertaining, and how that man can tell a story. It's amazing. He's great stuff for sure. Okay, we're gonna be going. We're gonna be doing the Going Bananas segment. Then after that, we'll definitely give you all your sponsors, your plugs, and social media. We'll do that, and then we'll probably have one more last question for you. But like I said, first thing that comes in your head, here we go.
Cool.
What's your lucky number?
Oh gosh, 11.
Favorite music album ever?
Oh goodness. Currently it's probably it's called Origins by Hazakim. It changes.
Okay. Your favorite piece of technology?
It's probably my cell phone. I use it the most.
Sure. Do you have a dream car?
Yeah, 2006 yellow Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution.
I love it.
Yeah, weird. I know.
No, hey, it's great, brother. Your favorite superhero?
I would say Jesus, but that probably doesn't count, so we'll go Batman.
They're close. That would be a great fight. You know what I'm saying? that would be good.
Oh gosh.
Your first celebrity crush?
Eva Mendes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're not in a fight camp, what's a normal Saturday for Jacob?
Usually I'm up with the sun every day, so it's just kind of whatever I'm off work that day. So it could be some housework, or like this Saturday I got a community service thing. I'm gonna go like serve some food to homeless people.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so it's just just kind of whatever. That's my day to just not have to focus on the 9 to 5 stuff, and just kind of see what I can do for somebody else, or try to stay busy, just not busy doing the normal work.
Okay. Last one for the bananas questions. Fight prediction: August 2nd, Island Fights 58. Lucas Alexander, Jacob.
I would say we'll go first round TKO with ground and pound.
Okay. Awesome, man. We appreciate your time so much. Like I said, plug away, gym, sponsors, social media plugs, anything you got. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so shout out to Harris Holt Combat Sports and Smash Brothers Jiu-Jitsu for all my coaches and teammates in their respective departments, getting them ready for that. My gear sponsor, and both of them, Rolling Bones Gear and American Mayhem. You can check them out on Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, so I'm on Instagram and Twitter at killer_Kilburn. You can also catch me on Facebook. You can add me. Sometimes we get political or personal. Sometimes it's funny stuff. But yeah, so hopefully we'll add a couple sponsors here in the next week or two. But yeah, just anybody that is Fight Bananas, Dean Tool, Island Fights, we can go on and on. Anybody that's believed in me and a part of the process in any way, it's kind of like a team effort. So I appreciate everybody. Very
cool. That's awesome, brother. Before we let you go, we're almost done here, man. Like I said, we really do appreciate your time. We can't wait. We'll be out there August 2nd, UFC Fight Pass, Island Fights 58, Fusion XL Performance Center, multiple UFC fighters, multiple young fighters in the rise. One of them is Lucas Alexander. You have 30 seconds, whatever you want to say to him, not say to him. The floor is yours. What should Lucas Alexander expect from you on August 2nd?
You can expect sportsmanship, not a bad guy, just coming to compete really hard. Be safe, don't have any injuries so that we can perform, and move your head and keep your hands up.
I love that. I love it. Awesome, my man. Stay blessed. We'll see you very soon. You too. You be very safe. We're around 4 or 5 weeks out in that range. Hopefully have a amazing, successful training camp. And we'll see you out there at Pensacola Beach.
Sweet. Can't wait.
Later, brother. Talk to you soon.
See you, man.
All right, guys. That was it, man. Wow. Jacob Kilburn. Can't wait. August 2nd. It's just going down, guys. Island Fights 58. You don't even need hype for this one. You don't even need a poster. It's just, this is a can't-miss fight. One for the ages. We got Lucas Alexander. We got Jacob Kilburn. It's just going to be fight of the night. There's just no doubt about it. Give him a follow. Give Jacob a lot of support, a lot of love. He deserves it. Great fighter. Big things for him in the horizon. I can't wait. So many great things for Fight Bananas coming up soon, guys. Like I said, make sure you check out the YouTube page. This podcast will be on the YouTube, Instagram, social media platforms, Facebook. Download and subscribe. This is the Fight Bananas Podcast.